good? Okay. Welcome everyone to our Monday, October the 4th Parks Board meeting. As you can see, we have a quorum. So first of all, do I have approval of claims and minutes from the September 2021 meeting?
I move we accept as presented.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions, concerns, anything that needs to be changed or updated? We're good? Okay. The golf pro report.
All right. Start me out first, huh?
Throwing you in. There you go.
Okay, just going over a little recap of recent events. Had the Madison baseball outing. It went well. 7 teams. We were able to, as well as have the event, also produce some revenues in the morning before. One of the exciting things for myself was the first live inventory of our own that sold through Golf Now. It was started out as 2 groups of Asian players. They bought rounds at $43 plus $3 to Golf Now, so they actually paid $46. They brought 2 more players with them that paid our rack rate of $45. So once we get the ball rolling, that's how the whole thing's supposed to work. And that might be speculation, but I think it's that might be as much of a language barrier. They would prefer to book online and pay online versus try to, interact with us, at the counter there. So
Yeah.
That was one of the exciting things besides the baseball event. Also, we did my first here at Sunrise, a corporate event. Arvin Sango hosted started out at 39 players. I was happy to have any money in the till on Sunday because it would have been a washout otherwise, but they came out. We fed them from our new kitchen, our new cook, and then they went out and played golf. Worked out great, quit raining as soon as the meal was done. They ended up with third area, we built them at 24 players. So it worked out great. They were talking about events for next year. And then I kind of tried to prompt them into something more regular. Suggested a manufacturers league. Didn't know if they had enough players to do one on their own. Then they suggested getting other manufacturers to compete against each other. So that's going to be kind of a work in progress and kind of just spitballing some ideas to bring in some new business. But definitely an opportunity at the golf course with the times that I've seen, 4 or 5 o'clock. It's, now that high school's done playing, there's hardly anybody out there. So definitely some opportunity for growth there. The golf course aerification went great. He got a lot of flack before and during. It was once he finished, we actually got a lot of compliments from the regular players. After this rain this weekend, it should have been ideal. We hit the timing just right. It's nice to have a nice rain after you put all that sand on the greens to get it to wash in. So if we wait too late, the turf starts to slow down in growth and inhibits the recovery process of the whole thing. So it was great. The only thing I might add to that is it should have been more aggressive in my opinion. They didn't pull cores, they just did tines. I think it's better for the health of the greens to go ahead and at the end of the year be very aggressive with your agronomy. But we had problems with the core machine. I was told it had been lent out to somebody else and had some damage, so it's better to not use that piece of equipment and hurt the green more that's damaged. But everything went great. We got the process in. I'd just like to warn you guys that I'm pressing Brandon and whoever I can to be more aggressive with our agronomy practices. I think it's going to be better for the golf course. The other places I've been, they've been more aggressive with it. And the golfers are upset when it happens, but once they see the results, they're going to be much more pleased. So just that's the only thing I wanted to add to the aerification. The website, went up and live, what are we, 2 weeks now into this? Not only did it go up and live, and Matt, you can kind of filter through some of these things, they have given me the back-end access to do modifications. Course information, this is a work in progress. I want to do some research at the library when snow starts to fly, and I can get some accurate, that says that Gilbert England was our architect. I know Gilbert England myself. I called him. He said that he did not design the new 9, but they did the earthwork. So I want to go in and get some accurate information on the history of the golf course, and once we slow down at the course, I'm going to dive into it more and try to contact these people. This is scorecard information. The people that supplied the course photos also did a course layout. I'm going to add more of his aerial photos that we've seen like these in there, as well as they did the, you might not be able to pull up the course layout because it was a big file.
Yeah, I don't think.
But he's working on a scorecard for us, so I did go in and change the menu. Our cook started about 2 weeks ago. Still putting a few things in here, but it was under the Putter's Grill, so I changed to Sunrise Falls Grill. Put in some of these menu items that the chef and I had spoke about. Prices comparatively, I might urge you all to kind of look at that. I got a little blowback on a bacon cheeseburger being $12. I did some price shopping around some other restaurants, and that's comparative to the Boneyard Grill, to Shipley's Tavern, things like that. So I didn't just, willy-nilly come up with these prices. I was trying to, get something where we could still cover our costs, but be competitive in the market. I don't want to steal anybody's business, but I don't want to lose money at this either. So the other additions on here, started giving a few golf lessons, so I want to post some rates for our golf lessons and more common, some events, things like that, so people can follow us on our website as well. The last, bringing up the website, last golf committee meeting we had our first general public show up for our golf committee meeting, and I knew exactly why he was there as soon as he walked in. Was when we got rid of Rec Desk, the members lost the ability to book a tee time online without a fee. And originally I was told by Golf Now that there was no way around that, but once I dove into it a little bit deeper, made a few more phone calls, we can use this right here for the members to book tee times through our website, not through Golf Now's website, but it's identical to Golf Now, the times we post on there, and now the members can post a code in there to get rid of that $3 booking fee if they book through our website. So that was one of the big things that came out of
Is that
our
like on the home page that explains to do that?
It is right here. If you go to book a tee time again, Matt, you see that on the left side?
Yeah.
And there is a section at the top. It's got a promo code where you put in enter promo right there at the top. That's where there will be a generic member number that they can put in there for all the Sunrise members. So they can go ahead and book that, hit that, enter their promo code.
And that was, so it's just for members?
That is just for members.
Okay, I understand, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. And there's gonna be different prices on there, but once we get on course, it might say that this person owes $36, but on our computer, we have the opportunity to manipulate that price and just charge them their cart fee or whatever their applicable membership is.
Okay.
It was really more about the $3 booking fee, that the reason he came to me. And justify, we wanna offer that,
Yeah, that's, I
if
mean,
we can.
Yeah.
So I was happy we could get that done. Anything else you want to add on the website? Or?
No, I mean, I think this just kind of goes hand in hand with everything we're doing with Golf Now and making it more accessible for our community members. Rec Desk, while it did great in some areas, the online booking reservation platform of it wasn't as friendly as something like this. So
Yeah.
I think this is going to make our community members much happier.
Yeah, and also non-community members. Hopefully this will reach out to, people in other parts that are traveling to, Madison for Chautauqua and drop the wives off at the river, and is there a place where the guys can do something? So. I think it's easier for them to look up and see where the golf course is here. Next on my agenda, the First Tee of Indiana. I had a meeting reached out to the Indiana PGA to investigate more about this. And you can do some research online. First Tee of Indiana, or First Tee of the PGA, is instituted to bring more golfers into the game. But the First Tee specifically is more about teaching life core values to, using golf to teach life core values to middle school students. And the ways that I had the regional director come down and sit down with me. They'll send me to a training session. We go into schools with a snag golf kit, about $3,500. Ironically, that's about what the Wooler, was it the Wooten?
Yeah.
The Wooten group gave me when I first came on. It's about a $3,500 package. I can take that around to the different middle schools, train the PE teachers to conduct the class without me there. And then that will be a feeder program for our golf programs. The First Tee would actually be green grass programs that we're having at the golf course. So it's going to introduce kids into golf, but also kind of lead them towards Sunrise in the spring and summer, where we'll start to have more specific programs for juniors. The snag golf kit is something that I would have in my possession, and I'm going to trade it to all the different schools. So we'll take it to Shaw, we'll take it to Madison, I'll take it out to Southwestern, incorporate it into their PD curriculum to where they're introducing golf, but also the 9 core values is a lot of what First Tee program was stressing. Accountability, the honor system, things like that. The kids, even if they don't take up golf, that it's good for them to incorporate in their lives, no matter what they're doing. So that was kind of my quick 1-2 on the First Tee program. I'll be going to training on that over the winter, and we're trying to get this instituted for a January 1st launch into the school system, to where we can get it out there. The Facebook page. I talked about this a little bit before. I guess I put that on there because I was a little disappointed that it's not getting more traction, and was going to bring it up for suggestions about how I can get into other people's networks and get other people to follow, whether it's follow us on Facebook, and just so I can do some reports. I did a posting that had a really great picture of the girls golf team that won the sectionals. And I only got 2 or 3 likes. I'm not used to that. We have another Facebook page in my whole course, and we get 60, 70, 80 likes off of stuff that wasn't as, meaningful as that, in my opinion. So I'm working with the city to see, what we can do to try to get more people following that page. I know it's a new page, but from what I hear in town when I'm talking to other people, Facebook is a major means of communication in this town. So I just need to try to figure out how to get into other people's networks. So, when they share it, it'll, the domino effect of the way Facebook works and social media works. Questions?
So,
No, I just was,
Roger, sorry, go ahead.
I was reading on the golf report, but I was gonna ask you about how maintenance, because I've heard some, people saying there's carts that are needing to be repaired and they're not getting work done, and I read the report that said, you're down some staff, so I just wondered how that was going, because we're getting into the fall now where you've got all this extra stuff to do, so how are we?
Yeah, the golf carts, first of all, in my department, the golf carts has got to do with the battery situation.
Okay.
And we had monies allocated from year to year that got passed over and spent in other departments, so that was kind of the domino effect of these batteries going bad. Now that we brought it to the front burner and made it more of an issue, it became a supply chain issue with getting batteries. We've got funds allocated, correct?
Yes, so I can kind of speak on that. We, in the 2021 budget, we had $2,000 allocated, which sounds like a decent amount. But with the carts that were bought in 2016, 10 of the fleet's batteries had been replaced in 2019, but the other 20 to 25 have not been touched since 2016. So those are starting to run a little low, and it takes 6 batteries per cart at $200 or so a pop. that adds up quickly. So for the 2022 budget, we have proposed and had the initial approval through council to up that to 10,000. But we are, I do have 2 skids that are ordered, and they should be here. She gave me an update on it last week, that she now thinks it'll be on the 7th of this month. So the supply chain issue has been our biggest hurdle with this, but they're the Trojan batteries that we need, that Brandon specifically requested, that seem to work the best.
Okay. So we should be able to get those 20 carts that didn't get them?
We won't get the full 2025, but we will do that in 2022. So we're gonna get a large chunk right here. So we know 10 are good. We're gonna get another 10 to 15 right now, and we'll have a little
Okay.
extra batteries there, in case something does happen, and then we will get the remainder of the fleet in 2022 with that
Okay.
budget that we proposed.
Okay.
And with Facebook, I was just gonna say on that too, Hannah Fagan and I have been speaking on that. She's been gone all week, with her wedding, but we are going to post, about the Sunrise Municipal Course, that Facebook page on City Hall's one. We've got about 12,000 followers on that. I just don't have access to it, to try to promote some more of that. And then we're gonna do a press release too for the city, about Golf Now, about the website and all of that. So, or if you have any other suggestions of how we can help get that word out, we'd love to hear it. But we're trying to push that, social media route the best we can.
And now to the maintenance side and labor, do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah,
You
I
wanna-
can speak on maintenance too. First off, Brandon's doing a great job with the limited maintenance labor that he's got. I think the course, and you could attest to this, is playing very, very well, especially for this time of
Yes.
year. I mentioned this, I believe, at the last meeting, that Brent Copeland was hired by Tony Sorrells to move down to the city garage. Tony has been gracious enough to leave Brent up at the golf course, which he's still there now, as we're kind of in this intermediate period. We have hired 2 different seasonal employees that both lasted less than a week due to the physical nature of the job. And then within the past week, I had a phone call, had the phone interview, and then Tony and I sat down and interviewed this person on Friday that I believe we are going to offer to try to kind of replace Brent. We're still in the negotiations portion of that. But that still only leaves us with about 4 people up there currently for the remainder of this year. And then we've had some other people that Tony's been allocating up there when we need additional help, such as for the airification. He sent up, I think, 2 or 3 extra people up there to try to help kind of alleviate some of that, 'cause those are stressful days.
Yeah, the only other thing I might add to that, and Brandon stressed to me, was, Brent moving, not having a mechanic at the golf course is gonna be a challenge. We've been promised that he can be on our property, when we need him. We're gonna need him for all these batteries to go in the golf carts. We really needed him for the post airification. They got all 19 greens airified, top dress. The top dressing is the sand layer that goes on. He went out to top dress a couple other greens that got too light of a dusting. He was trying to put some extra sand down, even everything out. He got into the second green and the airifier broke. So having a mechanic on site would have helped us to fix that piece of equipment right away, continue with that process. As it stands now, he had to stop that, pull all the equipment back in until we can get the mechanic up. So it's not, I don't understand, it's not a perfect world. We're trying to make the budget work. And once we start making a whole bunch of money, we do need a mechanic on site though.
So this person that you interviewed on Friday, is that for a full-time or a seasonal position?
We are in negotiations over that right now. They will be working full-time, it's just whether or not, we haven't decided exactly on pay and benefits, that kind of stuff,
Okay.
where we'll land there. But yeah, that's, Tony has assured us that Brent will be just as available as he is now. It's just obviously not quite as accessible when you're not directly there at the golf course. But Brent will still be maintaining all the equipment, so he's very familiar with it. And since him and Brandon have such a good relationship, I don't see that, hopefully slowing down our maintenance.
And I will also note that Brandon and I's relationship has really started to develop more, and we've developed more of a working relationship. So it's there's a lot of frustrations out there, but he's made more of a habit of coming up to the shop when he gets done and talking through things with us and seeing if we can't come up with some solutions on our own to whatever the challenge is for the day. So
Okay,
I would like to say that it's, you know,
good.
that relationship is improving.
That's great. That's great.
And then, last couple things, the pro shop hours, I know we've got 7 to 7, posted on the board. I'm not sure what time you guys go to work, but when I get there at 6:30, it's still dark till
Yeah.
about 7:15. And it's getting dark, earlier, so we were gonna suggest that, we take down the posted 7 to 7 hours and make it, you know, weather permitting. When I run a for-profit business, if it's raining all day, I'm trying to clean out my hourly staff and save on payroll. If it's my day off and it's his turn to close, I'm just gonna suggest that we kind of have varying shop hours now, especially once daylight savings times hits, and it'll go from getting dark at 6:30 to 5:30 here in another few weeks. So, I was just gonna ask permission to, take down the 7 to 7 on our billboard out front and post hours. We're still, our process now is we don't rent a 9-hole cart out, past an hour and a half before dark. So right now we've moved that from 6:30 to 6 o'clock. You can't rent a cart after 6 o'clock because it's gonna be dark before you get done. So with the posted shop hours, I've been making the guys stay there till 7 when it's, you know, getting dark 20 minutes later right now. So that was the only other thing I was gonna bring up. The kitchen, did you wanna hear? Hired a cook, Jordan Cooper, started a couple weeks ago. He's been working very closely with Mindy to, get the kitchen in shape. We found out that, the ovens that they had in there were donated from McDonald's, and it was I don't know a lot about electronics, but he said it was an 8-phase, it looked like a plug that they'd use at the campground. It had 4 or 5 prongs on it. Anyway, it would have taken more to equip our electric system in our shop than to use these ovens, so we ordered a new oven. Long story short, ordered a lot of stock, we got the menu posted up there, and we started cooking, so now we're looking into, once again, using the Facebook to market the kitchen and see if we can get some more traffic in there.
Good. Okay. Yeah, that'll be nice.
Right now, the kitchen is, we're focusing on a breakfast and a lunch menu. As it grows, we'll hopefully expand into a dinner. But right now, take baby steps is what I've been directing him to do.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No?
No?
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Very much. The campground, contract.
Board, I believe you have the campground attendant contract in front of you. This is what we agreed upon moving forward in 2021. If you remember, between 2020 and 2021, we made a few minor adjustments to it. Mostly it was pertaining to the maintenance and the general kind of upkeep at the campground. Since the attendant is there full-time throughout the peak season, it just made more sense for them to have the responsibility in the contract to mow, kind of help maintain the area. So for this upcoming season, I don't know if each of you have any kind of edits that you would like to make to that contract. The only one that I have, that I personally made through the budget process, was slightly adjusting the pay to go from $1,100 to $1,200 per month, effective throughout the entire 7 months. Overall, Doug Buckler's done a fantastic job, and I hear nothing but good things from all of our campers. And I would highly, highly recommend that we renew his contract for 2022.
Don't we need to read this? Do we need to read this, or is this just the first reading tonight, or how, I thought we had to read it?
Either he reads it or you read it, and then if you guys wanna, you know, you vote on it too.
Okay.
Or
Read the
you-
whole,
or
I
you-
mean, do we read the whole thing?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I don't think so, but read most, you know, I don't know, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I think Matt, usually like the mayor's read it, or the park director, I feel like we need to read this. I feel like this was what we've done in the past. So I
Okay.
think we should have a reading, a formal reading.
That's fine.
So I feel like we should do that before we make a motion to take a vote on it, okay? I
Yeah,
feel like we
that's
should.
fair. Okay, would you like me to read it then?
Sure, I think you should.
Okay.
Um,
This contract, made and entered into the 4th day of October 2021, by and between the City of Madison Parks and Recreation Board, hereinafter referred to as Board of the City of Madison, Indiana, and Doug Buckler of Jefferson County, Indiana, hereinafter referred to as campground attendant. Now therefore, it is agreed as follows. 1. Services. Said campground attendant hereby agrees to operate, conduct, and be a full-time living on-site manager of a campground owned by the City of Madison, Indiana, and operated by said board, and which campground is located on Vaughn Drive. Said campground attendant shall be responsible for the upkeep, maintenance, and daily cleaning of restrooms, storage shed, mowing, trimming, and keeping the area clear of trash and debris. Said campground attendant shall take reservations, collect fees for camping, and turn in all receipts and documentation to the Parks Secretary inside City Hall each morning. All reservations should be made in advance through the online portal, MadisonIndianaRecDesk.com, and there should be no cash transactions. Said campground attendant will be provided a cell phone for emergency and contact availability after our arrival and reservation assistance. This cell phone will remain property of the City of Madison, and monthly billing will be paid for by the city. This phone will be returned to the City of Madison at termination of the contract period. Other benefits included in contract will include designated space to be determined and identified by the Parks Director for parking of a personal camper for the season, electric and water service for the attendant's camper, Wi-Fi connection for campers so that attendant may access and manage reservations. Said campground attendant shall provide such other services as the Parks Director may request in connection with the operating and maintenance of said campground. 2. Compensation. Said campground attendant shall receive for the performance of services $8,400 total payable each month at $1,200 for 7 months from April through October, payable upon claim properly presented to the board. Relationship between parties. Doug Buckler is retained and contracted by the City of Madison only for the purposes and extent set forth in this agreement, and his relationship to the City of Madison during the term of the contract shall be that of an independent contractor. The campground attendant shall not be considered under the provisions of this agreement or otherwise as having an employee status or as being entitled to participate in any of the plans of the City of Madison for benefits of its regular employees. 3. Terms. The term of this contract shall extend from the 1st day of April 2022 through the 31st day of October 2022, to be signed by campground attendant, clerk treasurer, and the City of Madison Park and Recreation Board.
So do I have a motion to approve the contract, the campground attendant contract for the 2022 season?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any changes, suggestions, or questions, or everyone good?
The only thing that I was just gonna throw out there, which this will be the next portion of it, is about the software. So we specifically state in there about RecDesk.
Right.
We just wanna say that it is the online platform that we're using,
Okay.
just to keep it more vague for future use.
Okay, I agree. I think that should be in there, I agree. Okay. So the contract is so moved, okay? All right. Okay, next agenda item, discussion of park fees for the 2022 season.
Sorry, Madam President, one
Yes.
more thing with campground.
Yes.
Is if you all are comfortable with this, we can do this as a sort of, discussion, or this could possibly lead to a vote, that is up to the board, but about, the campground software moving forward
Okay,
for 2022.
let's do that, then I think I agree. Let's go ahead and do, let's talk about this Astra. Is that what we're talking about?
That's
I
correct.
think it's I think now would be the time to discuss, don't you?
I would agree.
I think so. Okay, yeah, that's
So,
fine.
what you have in front of you, is the proposal I just received this morning, and then I sent each of you an email last week, kind of outlining what all, we were looking to do. So we've had at our last board meeting, we've had some people that have, said their piece with Rec Desk, that although it is fantastic for some areas of our department, it hasn't worked out for the sheer volume that we've incurred at both the campground and for our golf course. So for our golf course, we chose an alternate option to use Golf Now, which was the #1 reservation site for golfing, and then that is what we're trying to do the same with our campground here. So Astra, it's also through the Reserve America platform. It is the #1 booking platform for campgrounds in North America. You can flip through this and it kind of gives you a little bit of breakdown of what all it does. But this is capable of short, long-term visits, map and grid views, online payment options, an entire POS system, creating interactive layouts of the campground and sites. You can do block reservations or specific site reservations. I know that is one thing that was lacking with Rec Desk. It is treated more, I like to compare it to an Airbnb or a hotel where you can pick October 4th through October 7th, and then that's what your reservation is going to look
Right.
like.
Yeah.
It's much more user-friendly to see the available campsites. Right now, you have to individually click through campsites to see what's available. That is not the case with this. Gives us all of our reporting, billing, accounting that we need through the State Board of Accounts and through our clerk's office. And then the big question is pricing. So if you'll flip through on your handout there, speaking with Skip, our representative, Model A is what we'd be adopting if we choose to move forward with this. And the only fee that we incur is a 2.5% credit card processing fee because they are our processor, Astra is. So with that, each individual transaction will have that 2.5% that will go directly to Astra. And then the only other fee that they receive does not come from us. It is a $3.50 charge from the customer to that company. So that's where they get their money, and so both the customer and us are kind of paying a small fee for that. But that gives us access. I believe they claimed nearly 20 million annual visits to their sites and such like that throughout the year. That him and I have talked about it, and with our 34 sites, and possibly including primitive campsites for next season. This is something that I do highly recommend if you feel comfortable with moving forward with this.
So let me ask you this, so Model B, obviously there's more expense there, and
Mhm.
so I don't really see a whole lot of difference, and of course I haven't talked to the person, but why is Model B so much more expensive than Model A?
It has to do with more volume for the amount of reservations and sites that we have.
Okay.
I don't know the specific because we only have 34 sites. I would
Okay.
assume that maybe, because I know all the state parks use this model as well. That's what they've adopted statewide. But I would assume someone that's got 200 campsites would be more adept to use a Model B as opposed to A.
Okay. That $3.50 reservation fee,
Mhm.
is this what a lot of other campgrounds use, is pretty typical?
Yes, this, I don't know between Model A and Model B what's more used. Like I said, that has to do with the size of your campground and how many spots that you have that you can reserve. But this is the #1 leading software reservation for campground in North America. So this is something that people are very familiar with. And it's gonna be much more user-friendly and people will understand how to access us. Kind of very similar to this discussion we've had with Golf Now, just making us more accessible, that people will be able to search us, find us much easier, and be able to book their own reservations.
So we're not gonna get a lot of fallback or argument about this $3.50 fee?
There could be. I mean, anytime that we're gonna do any sort of additional fees to it,
Yeah.
there could be
Okay,
some
so-
questions about it, but
Because you're familiar with, a lot of other people are using this, so
Yes.
they're accustomed to that $3.50,
Yes, yes.
so it's
All-
not a.
all
I
you're
guarantee,
saying-
I guarantee if someone's booking 10 sites for a week, that $3.50 is a whole lot easier than dealing with records.
The way the brain.
I've booked campsites in other states, Kentucky, Ohio, and yeah, it's pretty standard to have
Is it?
additional
Okay,
booking fees.
okay, good, all right.
You buy anything online anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that
The tickets for
service fee.
our school, paying $2.
Yeah, processing fee, okay.
So I have spoken with Doug about this. He does recommend this as well as if this is something that you would like to move forward with.
And you've had experience with this company?
Yes, I worked with it with the state parks, and I've also worked with the forestry service, so yes.
So you would be comfortable?
Yes,
Very
yes.
And it's way user-friendly. I mean, I know
It's
we
way-
talked last time about how
it-
complicated and
It's
convoluted
night
that was.
and day.
Okay.
It's night and day.
I mean, I just wanna, I don't mind going
Yeah.
into doing something that's more user-friendly if it really is user-friendly, but I don't wanna
It
pay
is.
for something if we're gonna end up with the same kind of nightmare that we were having.
No, no,
Okay.
it is. It's a lot better. It's,
Much easier to book like those multiple sides or
oh, yeah.
multiple weekends,
Oh, yeah,
okay?
because just like as Mike said, you pick your first day when you arrive, then you say, I want to stay 8 days. Boom, it gives you the 8 days.
Okay,
You don't have to go back and forth, it just automatically. And if one of them days in the middle happens to be already taken, it tells you, you know.
it'll kick you out and tell you you
It'll
can't
kick you
have
out
that
and tell
whole.
you, hey, this day's
Okay.
already taken, you know, it's very, very, very friendly.
Okay. So,
I make a motion we adapt.
yeah,
adopt
so we have to,
the
so now we have to
ASTRA.
make a motion to adapt the contract that was written to incorporate this in there rather than rec desk, or
That's what
just
I
say,
I was just gonna keep it broad, for the campground attendance contract of just the online, registration, yeah, the
Okay.
platform that we're gonna use. Just in case we ever do, another online platform.
Okay.
I think that makes the most sense.
okay. Very good,
So
all
I
right.
move we adapt the Astra Campground Manager platform to handle our reservations.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any more discussion?
Nope.
So moved. Very good. Okay. All right, now we'll move on to, park fees for 2022.
So for park fees, we're not gonna be voting on anything today. This is just kind of opening the discussion between the board, the public, myself, just to be able to have that kind of discussion of, what people would like to see. And just kind of as a reminder, with fees, with municipalities, it is something that is very, very, important for anybody as they're, trying to sustain what we're doing. Given that our funding comes from tax revenues and that we are only funded by the city of Madison, not Jefferson County as a whole, we have a large and comprehensive park system to where the tax revenue that we receive just from Madison is not enough. And that's why fees are so vital to us. So we get those from the campground, from the sports complex, from all our programmings, the golf course, all of our concessions, dog park, you name it, we receive some fees for it. So it is something that's vital, and the only, I guess, recommendation that I have, given what we did going into 2021, is that we don't make any rash or dramatic increases to the things that we have just previously touched on, such as the campground, what we did for 2021, or the golf course.
How is our sports, our $50 fee, and then I believe 75 for tackle? Are those enough to maintain our level of?
Yeah.
We're not losing a lot of money on those, correct?
Yeah, I think that price, from what we've, the market research that we've done with that, that's pretty competitive. If we were talking, Indy Louisville area, it would be substantially low.
Right.
But it is something that we can keep in mind because, for example, I do know Hanover has been undercutting a lot of our pricing. So, that's something that I wouldn't suggest going higher on because they're doing it at a cheaper price.
Right.
And if we wanted to match them, I would be okay with that. We make enough revenue from our other areas with concessions and different things that, our main focus going forward is just participation, so.
Right, okay. Yeah, and we don't wanna price people out of it.
Exactly.
And especially since we suffered from COVID and lack of programming, because of that, we need to provide a service for families that's reasonable amount of money, as long as we can cover the cost that we need.
Correct.
What's Hanover charging?
I believe it depends on sport. Chad may be able to correct me on this. I think they do a little differently. I think volleyball was at 25.
Yeah.
They did 25 for volleyball, which we did 50, but we received, how many girls? How many?
58 participants total.
And that was up from last year by how many?
16.
So that's 16 additional from last year. We have 7 teams, and we start our games this week. So, even though the other places are offering cheaper, we're still very competitive.
Did their team stay in Hanover?
Yeah, they're not playing an hour.
Yes, we did have 2 Southwestern teams last year that played with us, but they're staying there.
How many teams did we have last year?
We had
lost their teams and still had 7.
Yes,
Okay.
because last year we had 5 park teams, 2 Southwestern, and then 1 CAM team.
Is Cam in ours?
Yes.
CAM is in ours again, and then we have 6 park teams
Okay.
through this year, so.
Okay. We are not voting on fees this evening, correct? We're
No,
just
no, we won't.
having any suggestion about it?
Correct,
Okay. All right.
yeah, and that's where, if the public or anybody who has any additional input, I think we just.
We don't really vote on those Decembers, that kind of plan. Or do you
I'll
wanna
speak with the mayor, I
make-
think he may wanna do November, but, we can confirm that since we did now move our meeting dates to the beginning of the month. We may wait till December, I'm not sure exactly on that yet.
Okay.
So, on our, Parks Department website, and do we have all on the rec desk, do we have all the fees listed so that the public can look at the fees and see them, and maybe we can update the Facebooks so that,
Yeah, we have it specified for each of our individual facilities, but we definitely could update that on the main page to include just a form section that has the breakdown of every single fee to where it's in one kind of clean space.
Yeah. I think that would be a good idea, just so
Okay.
people can see it, and so that if at the next meeting anyone wants to come, since we're not voting tonight, we can have public comments or discussion
Yeah.
at next meeting as well.
Okay.
I think that would be a good idea to have it where it's easily accessible for people and that they would see it.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Any other discussion on fees? Okay. All right. Program director.
Hello, board.
Hello?
So with programming, we finished up our flag football season on September 25th. Majority of the 45 children that signed up for the league consistently participated throughout the whole season. That's a program we receive a lot of positive feedback from. The parents love that the high school players and the coaching staff are so hands-on with our youth players. So I'm looking forward to working out another deal with the high school and trying to get a program like that going again. As far as the programming that we have currently, tackle football, all but one of the 46 participants in both of the leagues are still playing, and they're enjoying their time. We will move into our postseason playoffs starting on October 16th. Our 5th and 6th grade team is currently ranked 3rd out of 12 teams, and our 3rd and 4th grade team is ranked 5th out of 10 teams. Obviously, wins and losses are not important, but I don't believe the teams would be doing this well if their players weren't having fun in our programs. So that's one positive to definitely take away from our tackle football programs. Youth volleyball, our youth volleyball teams will start playing games at the Brown Gym tomorrow, the 5th of October. We've had a total of 58 participants sign up, and we were able to make 6 teams out of those numbers. Christian Academy of Madison has also decided to join our league, giving us seven teams in total. We'll play every Tuesday and Thursday night down at the Brown Gym, and from what I've heard, this is a very, the athletes have a lot of fun in that, so I highly recommend coming down and checking out a game or two throughout the season. Adult flag football registration, we've extended that until the end of this week. So far we have 1 team sign up. I'd like to put a team in myself, so that would make 2. We've had a lot of people reach out to us about this one, constantly getting messages on our Facebook about this. So I think with additional advertisement and following up with the people that have reached out, I do think we'll get enough to get 4 teams at least started for that league. So I think we can, at least this is one of those programs that hasn't been offered in Madison for a while, so it will be kind of a rough go through this first time just to kind of experiment with it, but I think it's something that, the people of our town could have a lot of fun with. Kickball tournament. We've got our kickball tournament registration open. It's set for October 23rd at Kiwanis, and that registration will be open until the 15th of October. This event is open to all ages. Teams can be, made up of however many ages, and they can be co-ed teams as well. So I'm kind of expecting this one to have a big turnout. Again, that's just with more additional advertisement and following up with people that have asked about it, I think that we'll be able to get decent amount of numbers in that one. And we have made it only $10 a team to sign up for that. That's again, we're really more so just going for the participation in that. It won't cost hardly anything to run that event. So I think that that will be the $10 registration fee for the whole team. I think that should get people going on that. Looking forward, we will provide a complete program guide for youth, adults, and seniors for all of 2022 at the November Parks Board meeting. But you all have the kind of the rough draft, if you will, in front of you. So I'll just kind of go through these things. These are programs that have been pretty successful, and then a few new ones that I'd like to try out. So for senior, we want to bring back our senior dances. I'd like to have a bird watching program. That's something I learned about at our conference in Nashville. That's always a very successful program, and it's something that can be very simple. We can get a lot of engagement for all ages, really, in that. And then I'd like to start a walking program as well for the seniors. And then any other additional senior programming, we'll just need to coordinate with Gary Hewitt on that. He knows the seniors better, than we do. He's with them all day. He knows kind of what they want to see and what they want to do. So we just need to coordinate with him and get, more senior program going. For adult programming, we want to bring back water aerobics. We know that was a very successful program. So I would like to keep that going. Pickleball and our pickleball tournaments, that pickleball's been great for us. There's people down there playing every day, and they're having a lot of fun with it. So again, we'd like to we'd like to have some pickleball tournaments into that as well. And then with bird watching, that can be another adult programming aspect that we throw in there. We want to have a walking program as well for them, for the adults. Again, we want to do men's softball. They're currently playing their fall league right now at Rutgers, and so we want to continue that. We want to try to get the women's softball crew back into Madison and playing at Kiwanis. We tried to open up that registration 3 different times. We advertised for it, but it wasn't there. Nobody ever signed up for that. So we'll have to see, but I definitely think that can be a program that we bring back. That's always been a very successful one. And then again, having another kickball tournament if this one goes well. For the youth, we'll continue doing all of our successful ones: baseball and softball, basketball, flag and tackle football, volleyball, cheerleading. Again, we'll see how the kickball tournament goes this year, but that would be another thing that we could put in for our youth programming next year. Bird watching, again, I think that'd be a great way for the youth of our area to get engaged in their local scenery. And then the youth golf program. I know Rogers talked about that. That's something that we want to get going. We've had a very serious youth golf program outside of the teams at the junior high. So having that, I think, could provide a lot for our youth. And then again, a walking and running program for the youth as well. That's something usually that the schools will have. But I don't believe they've had it as serious as they've had it in the past. So I think having one through the city, I think that could benefit them a lot. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I just wondered about, years ago we used to offer, something to look at and see, but we used to offer tennis instruction. And I think that if we could bring that back, my kids did it at Michigan Road courts.
Okay.
We had it up there in the summers, and it was really attended well. I mean, there was a lot of kids that did it, so that's potentially, and I don't know, there used to be an adult tennis league in town, and I don't know if it still exists or if it's independent, but, maybe we bring that on for the adults too. We've got the pickleball court that can be a tennis court too, or the Michigan Road courts, I don't know, just a suggestion. But, I like the things that you've added, and I like, the enthusiasm in adding new programs and really working on them. And for sure, under the adult programming and the seniors, we need to try to increase things as much as possible. And I noticed that you put water aerobics high up on the list, and I think that's a program we definitely want to just really work at. It's such a highly attended program. I think we definitely need to be looking for an instructor.
Yes.
And, we don't want that program to die. you know?
Yeah.
So we've gotta find somebody, and Julie is here tonight. She has really, written a really, some really good suggestions and some things for us to think about, and I hope you'll all read that, and if Julie wants to talk tonight, but, you know, she said, like, you know, maybe encouraging the people that are in water aerobics, maybe one of them would step up and wanna teach the class, or maybe having some trade, you know, pool pass for instructing, or, you know, things like that. I mean, you know, so much of our programming is based on volunteers, but maybe if there's an incentive program too, it would help to encourage, you know, someone to do that. But, you know, I'm really pleased with everything that you've put on there, Chad. I think it's a really good list of opportunities and programming.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, and were you gonna talk about the craft show?
I believe, is that,
That's, okay,
okay, yeah, I'll let you handle that one.
yeah. Well, it's back this year, it looks like,
It
so
is
that's a
back.
great thing.
Mhm.
So-
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chad.
Mhm.
Okay, Matt, Parks Director.
Evening, board. A lot of the stuff with the campground and the golf course we touched on with Rogers report, and then with the campground attendance contract, and then the software stuff. So I'm going to kind of hit just the highlights of that. With our campground, we saw our peak month this past month with 499 reservations. That's up by 137 from August, and our income was just over $12,000. And then this is our final month now here in October. Just as a reminder, we have our Halloween event coming up on October 30th. So if you get a chance to come down there, you'll get to see Doug all dolled up in some sort of outfit there. I think he's gonna dance and sing too, is that right?
No.
We'll see. But no, that's gonna be a great event, doing a coordination with that, with Hannah Fagan and their Halloween event that they're hosting as well. So that's something we expect to be well attended, and really looking forward to that. For the golf course, Roger really hit on everything. I was just gonna update on the rounds played. We saw 1,416 rounds, of which 67% were season pass. It's 978, and 33% paid rounds of 475. In revenue update, saw over $20,000 of income here this past month, and then I will update you all with our tracking and our annualization of what we're projecting with that. The mayor's been out all last week, but him and I spoke today for about an hour over all this stuff, and he wants to dig into these financials again. So I can give you the month to date, and then we'll do the annualizations for that as well. For Crystal Beach, so the final contracts have all been signed. We had some different issues obviously with contracting right now, and with construction work with the materials is difficult to come by, and then the pricing is difficult. So one of the big things for us was our provisions that we had that were included once the new administration came through to kind of protect ourselves with this big investment towards Crystal Beach. So those provisions kind of slowed the contract process down, but everything has been signed according to the pool group and our project manager. And so all of that, the mayor's just waiting for that final approval to come through. But we were very excited to still have all the pricing locked in, even during the pandemic with the prices that they've just skyrocketed during. But work for that will begin very soon. So I know you probably get a question about that, but thank you to the board and to our public for just being patient on that.
Are we still we're gonna make our timeline?
So there is still the clause in there that is supposed to be finished by May 13th, and we are supposed to be able to open by Memorial Day weekend.
Labor Day would order.
Right. There are provisions in the contract of a fee that is assessed to the contractor if he does not deliver on that date. And that wouldn't matter if he started today or if he started on Christmas, that is still part of the contract that he has to deliver by.
Okay.
So I will keep you updated on that process as I hear more information on it. For Rutgers Sports Complex, only thing I have for this right now, we've had our tackle football that's been going on there. Playoffs are about to start, as he mentioned, and we'll be able to host some of those, so we're excited about that. If you get a chance, those are really well attended, and those have been a great turnout to bring tackle football back. But we do have Kava is just now wrapping up. We hosted fall leagues. We did a Tuesday league that was a youth one for 13 and under, and then we did an 18U that was on Sundays. We were going to have our final one, the actual tournament portion of it, this past Sunday, but that was rained out. So we are working with tournament director Nick Tizone to reschedule that, and then we'll do a recap with him over kind of the pros and cons of this 2021 fall season. And if everything is good, they want to go ahead and move forward with signing a contract for 2022, and not just doing fall, but doing at least summer and fall, if not spring as well, if there's availability for that. For our senior center, we are open Monday through Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are still working on getting meals for our seniors. I know that's one thing that Chad's been working on with Lifetime Resources. We're unsure if that is who we'll use or if we will use a different vendor for that. That is one of our top priorities. And then Gary Hewitt has been kind of our liaison there with our senior center of opening it, closing it, helping set up all of our bingo and our euchre that they're playing over there. And as of right now, our first senior dance is going to be Friday, October 29th at the Brown Gym. This will be a $5 charge per person, which has been the typical in the past. We will have a cover band that is there, being able to play for us. And then we'll post all of that on our social media and make sure that we get the word out there on our senior dance. That is something that we're looking to be hosting regularly once again.
Good.
With all of this, so the craft show, we are hosting that. Did we post something today, or is that going to go?
Facebook wasn't working.
That's right. Facebook was down all day today. If you haven't been on there, but we will get that posted as soon as that is live. That is going to be on our Parks Department page, the City Hall page, and then on the city's actual website. So we will still be able to do the handwritten reservations there, or we'll do it online. But we'll have links to all of that. Katie has done a fantastic job creating a Google Doc links for that, and is really working hard and kind of taking this project as her own. So I'm very excited for that. But I believe you guys have the flyer in front of you, so we will start posting these all throughout town. And we've had some vendors reaching out to us already about that. So we are doing that in coordination, again, with Hannah's event for the Christmas parade and the event that they've got on Broadway Street there. So that's why we've changed our times a little bit. So we will now hold it from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we're not trying to compete with the parade and such that's going on.
Okay.
But if anybody has questions, we will have those links posted on our social media pages, and then you can call the Parks Department to register there as well.
Very good.
For our general parks and rec desk dog park, we've got 159 season pass holders. That's 9 additional from August. Pickleball, our season pass holders have stayed the same between 15 at the 6 months and 45 at the full year. I've worked with Charlie after his question last park board meeting about expanding the hours, and we have expanded it from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. all Monday through Friday for him. And then John Paul Park, we have selected to go with Gene Baker of Carroll County Fencing, and he actually begins work on the fence repairs on Wednesday. And just as a reminder, this is from the flood damage that we received there at Crooked Creek that damaged the 8-foot fencing out back in left field, and then also the fencing down first base line that we were getting repaired. And this is going to be an upgraded kind of industrial level steel fencing that we'll get, so hopefully it should sustain a little bit better for a future event like that. And then Chad and I we did get to attend the Nashville conference. This was their first time doing a hybrid, so it was virtual, and then they did allow up to 3,000 in-person attendees for this. So we got to see courses in the areas of programming, conservation, advocacy, equity, revenue development, leadership. It was an experience to talk to professionals in the area, kind of see how big cities did things, especially during the pandemic, kind of bounce ideas off each other. And it was just a really cool experience that's something that I'd like to try to attend if possible, in the future years. But that was something that we really got to enjoy. And the only other thing that I had, although it's not park related, but it is going on downtown, we do have Chamber of Commerce is putting on the Soup Stew this weekend on the 9th. I believe that starts at 11 a.m. So if you're able to attend, I think that'd be a great one.
Very good.
Or do you have any questions for me? Bill, I did have one question about the tennis. Do you remember when that would have last happened for the youth and adult by any chance?
I would call Dennis Junior.
Yes,
Okay,
because
And
Dennis
ask-
did it, yeah.
okay,
They had it through, I wanna say the 3 schools had it. They got equipment for it.
mhm,
He did it the first year, and then it was agreed upon it would be passed around, and no one did it. So he, I believe, donated that, split that up amongst the schools.
okay,
And so I believe it was a adult super teacher issue, not a student issue.
okay. That's good to know. I'll reach out to him.
Yeah,
Thank you.
But he's,
yeah, he was who my kids had as an instructor.
he's the one that last did it in Madison.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was through, I think, I don't know if it was Parks or I think through him, it went through the junior tennis association. So I don't know.
I can't remember when I mean,
Yeah.
I just,
And I know Mr. Cheatham, Mark Cheatham
Yeah.
did it for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, he did it
Also.
for me.
yeah,
So, but I think Mr. Munier was the last one with some other representatives.
Okay, I'll reach out to him. Thank you for that.
mhm.
No problem.
Public comment.
Hi, I'm Julie Kavanaugh. Let's see, I'll have to have glasses for this. First thing that's not on this is basically, I think, mainly about the pool. You were talking about the fees. I had several people came down this weekend, my friends, for the golf scramble, and just because, and they brought their dogs. And I've always thought about this, even when I was taking my dogs to the dog park, is there's no way for people from out of town to utilize the dog park. I know, the requirement is we have to show proof of vaccination, but, a lot of communities, the dog parks are just free, so there's no proof of the vaccination. But I didn't know if there was a way to get it booked, you're coming to the campground, you're gonna bring your dog, can you, get a 2-day pass, 2-day code to the park, and pay for that, or and I don't even know, it probably exists, a card reader with just a sign down there that says, it's a $5 one-time fee to get in the dog park. That's
I
just my
love the
thoughts.
idea of doing a kind of partnership, whether it was with if you were coming in town to stay at the campground or play golf, or whatever the case would be.
Anywhere, the
Yeah.
new, the new cotton mill,
Yeah.
hotel.
I think that's something that the board, we could definitely discuss.
Yeah.
It would just be a different fee that the board would need to approve and we
Right,
could adopt.
right.
So that's a
And,
good
when
suggestion.
I was taking my dogs down there, due to the vaccination, I wasn't really concerned.
There are several people that are very serious about that.
Well, I knew my dogs were vaccinated,
But there are
you
some
know.
that want that documentation
I know.
in his hands.
The first time I ever used it, because I had 2 big Bernese Mountain Dogs,
Mhm.
and I immediately was stopped and asked if I had filled out all the required
Yeah.
shots and everything, and if I had it all on
Yes.
record.
Okay.
So I do know that people do take
No,
that very
they're-
seriously.
Right,
And they've come to the board and made sure that we had that on hand.
well, maybe
So-
there's a workaround for that, maybe if we, I don't know, anyway, that's just my short idea of
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think it's a good idea, something to look into.
There is
for sure.
that temporary pass is
I
good,
think
because I don't know how many animals you get at the campground, but
A lot.
I
was
would
gonna say, a
imagine
lot of them don't,
lot.
they bring along, cause it's their
Yeah,
home, so they don't mind it.
So they could scan their vet records
Yes.
and get a temporary summer, I don't know, it's,
Yeah,
you guys.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
work.
definitely, but that's a great
That's a good
idea. I mean,
suggestion.
like for the festivals and just different things, some people come for Chautauqua or, any of these things and they stay the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So I think it's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Maybe even advertising and doing some free weekends, especially when there are festivals, and we could partner with the Chautauquas and the
Yeah.
Riverfest, whoever,
I-
maybe offer free weekends.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
think that's a great idea.
But no,
Yeah, that is a good idea, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so these suggestions or whatever I have written down here all come from the fact that, I had to help my niece with my 5-year-old great nephew this summer to get him to swimming lessons. And, it's, and his stepmom helped him, so it's really true, that it really takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So, can we please offer evening swimming lessons? The 10 and 11 o'clock lessons are hard. I mean, I don't know if you guys have kids, but how many people, either single moms or married people, can get their children to swimming lessons at that time? And even for me, you know, I don't work a regular job, I have rentals, but that just took my whole morning. You know, I wasn't able to do anything before, and then, you know, I had to go get him, do swim lessons, take him home, or up on the hill with the babysitter, and there's your whole morning. It's just shot. I'll let you guys read my comments there. And then I said number 2 was start a scholarship fund, but my sister told me over the weekend that there is something called, that Jamie Jacobs started, Jane's
Yes,
Kids.
James Kids.
But she said it didn't cover the full cost of a program. I think it maybe gave, I don't know, $10 or $20 off of the program.
They have the choice
Yeah.
It
of what they
originally was-
participate in.
So
Yeah.
they can get it like a free,
That's how it was originally
Yes.
established. So when they brought these people in, they could pick one program through the Parks Department, and the whole fee was covered, but they only got one. So like, you know, if your child decided to do volleyball, we would pay the volleyball fee, but then if they later on decided they wanted to do basketball too, that wasn't all covered. But I don't know does Jane's Kids still have that program for the full reimbursement of that? Do you know? At the
This year,
clearinghouse?
they only offered, it was $10 cost to the parents instead of 50 for the swim lessons.
Okay.
And a daily fee to the pool. They would give them 10 passes, and it was $1 per pass. So
Okay.
they paid us the other $4 and the other $40.
But did they do away with, you know, the registration for a particular sport? You know, they used to do basketball and volleyball. They did?
They, as far as I've known, they haven't for a while, but they were looking into doing more. I know they'll pay
Okay.
like White Boys and Girls Club for the summer, a certain portion.
so is
Okay.
that administrated by someone
Yes.
other than the city?
Yes. Yeah.
It's
That was through the
actually-
clearinghouse?
Yeah, it's through the
Through the
clearinghouse, and it's,
clearinghouse.
James set up this fund to help underprivileged kids.
And I know
It was
through
them.
like Community Foundation, can't people donate or
So
through
you-
that, to that, but I
And
think we
we
need to
have
like contact like
Ways of paying for people that
clearinghouse
can't.
and see how that program's.
But are they aware of that? Are they
Yes.
aware of the James Kids and all that?
Well, I'm telling, I mean, our people, all our coaches are told at their coaches meeting,
But prior to,
and it's put out, I mean, I think.
you know, because once you make it to the coaches meeting, you've already paid your money, so.
No,
what-
the coaches meeting, not the kids meeting the coaches meeting the kids, but our preseason meeting before actually during signups.
Yeah.
That we're told. So if we know of kids, and people use it, so it's known about.
And one thing that we send out periodically throughout the year, we'll send out our sponsorship agreements, and in the sponsorship agreements, businesses can select either an individual sponsorship, which would be $50, or they can do like a team or a banner. But this year, Kim, do you remember, we had 1 or 2 individual sponsorships where somebody, signed the waiver.
As many as we used to.
Yeah, so, but that is something that we do offer a
So then when you
free
put out
program.
like at the schools, I'm guessing like the application for, let's say, basketball, is in there somewhere mentioned about if you need financial support so your child can play? Is it mentioned in that application anywhere?
Not in the initial registration that we put out. It's
No,
not.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. I
How-
don't know about the James Kids program either. I don't know how
Yeah.
much more we've done with that, so I don't know
Well,
if we need to like.
We don't control that, so.
Yeah,
I think you're looking for a way the parks could help.
No,
families.
what I was looking for was, and I had written this before I knew about James Kid, to start a scholarship program for people that can't afford.
Okay, well, I think that's kind of what your sponsors, you ask
Mhm.
sponsors to pay.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think that's a good idea if somebody wants to. I remember years ago, we had somebody in the community that would just go down there and buy like 20 pool passes. And then give them to the Parks Department, and then if we knew of kids or somebody that came in and said, oh, I can't really afford that, we were at the discretion to pass those out. So we could maybe, under our sponsorship thing, look for
look for people to
People
do
that wanna donate, you know, $200 to help pay for kids to participate, I mean, that's for kids to play in the sport.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. Okay, back to the pool. Maybe consider offering lifeguard classes in the winter or possibly after the school, the pool closes for the season to kind of, get them early. And then, encourage the older retired people, to take them. You know, I mean, just because they're old doesn't mean that they're out of shape and can't rescue you.
yeah. And we usually work with Shelley Anderson and John and Ashley Schutte on lifeguard classes, and it typically takes place
After the swim
at the end of
season.
February, doesn't it, when the
After
junior
the
high?
swim season.
Yeah,
March.
after the
Takes
March,
place in March.
after
Yeah.
the swim season's
It's
over.
after, when the people, one, the pool's available, and two, the people that become the lifeguards are available.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But after if, Katie, are they good for calendar year, your license?
Yeah, my certification to be a lifeguard is good for 2 years.
2 years.
Okay, so it's 2 years, so you might be able to do one at the end, like when you close the pool, if anybody's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might actually,
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, okay.
that one might actually work.
And then maybe, you know, if you do get some retired people or seniors, offer, you know, a flexible, and I don't know, you might already do this, but a flexible schedule. You know, maybe they only wanna work 4 hours, or something like that. Water aerobics, when I was down there with my great nephew, I was astounded at the amount of people at water aerobics. I had no idea. I would love to take water aerobics, but especially in the summertime, I like to get out early either to do whatever outside or in my yard. That's when I'm the most productive is in the morning, but I would absolutely love to go to a water aerobics class at like 6 or 6:30 in the evening, you know, when I'm done for the day, you know, you're hot, you're sweaty, and do that. And maybe consider offering them on Tuesdays and Thursdays also, instead of just Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. But I couldn't believe there was that many people down there.
Now, we did offer them
We
at
did.
night at one time, and then it
Yeah,
was,
all
Well, there
the
were two.
years, it's been
We had
evenings and it's been
two
5 days a
instructors
week
and we only
this
had one
week.
instructor.
this
Yeah.
year.
It was,
5 days
Yeah,
a week
okay.
this year, yeah. We
So
just
if
could
we
not
can
have
find
an
another,
evening
another instructor, then hopefully that we can get back that evening time. I mean, I think it's a great idea, because the evening was attended equally as,
yeah.
or more so probably than the morning, so.
Yeah. And then Gail brought this up, you know, maybe considering recruiting some, I mean, there's so many people down there taking water aerobics. Surely one or two of them, you know, you could talk into, you know, into being an instructor and offer, you know, those incentives of either free aerobics classes or free pool pass, or I don't know, free something. But, you know, that would be great. The pool. How about thinking about an adult movie night?
Dive-in movie.
That would be
Dive-in
funny,
movie.
dive-in movie.
That's good. I've been trying to think of a clever thing for that.
Dive-in movie.
But, you know, they can bring their float, they can watch a movie. I don't know about adult beverages. Gail and I talked at my dentist appointment about that maybe are we gonna try to get the liquor permit for the upstairs of the pool for special events? And if we did, would that cover the pool for special events?
I don't know the answer to that, but I would guess no, because we won't be serving alcohol up there 5-7 days a week or anything. It'll just be for events, so I assume it would be more of a special licensing thing. So you can get the special certificates and stuff, but if you're
Yeah.
doing a day event.
And I'm not sure the water and liquor.
Yeah, I don't know how that
You
works.
wouldn't.
but-
Well, I don't,
You wouldn't
right.
do that.
From a liability
Right.
standpoint,
I
I'm
want
just
that.
thinking.
I know, but, you know, I mean, the hotels, they had swim at your own risk.
Yeah.
And that was just an idea, you know, to have, okay, so no liquor and still have an adult movie
Yeah,
night.
you can.
You just got to look in their Yeti cups and coolers,
Yeah.
and there we go. There's the liquor license. Into season, I know a lot of swimming pools do fundraisers for their animal shelters, and after the humans are done for the season, they have the next day is for the dogs. People bring their dogs in, you pay a fee, and you let them swim and enjoy the pool.
Yeah.
You know, I know that you could either do,
Yeah.
I know the city does give some money to the animal shelter, you could either give all that money for that day to the animal shelter, or split it, or whatever you guys wanna do with it. And another, my last idea tonight, would be maybe yoga at the pool. Yoga and a cool-off swim,
Yeah.
again in the evenings.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are just my two ideas.
No, I appreciate you taking the time to write it all down. I told her that I would bring this to everyone, and I encouraged her to come to the meeting. You know, it's always good to have other people give us ideas and things to think about. I mean, yoga might be a thing, another programming thing that we offer. I mean, I think it would be a great thing. Again, you know, we have to tap into the resources of the people in the community for volunteer, you know,
Right.
but I mean, yoga and a swim, I mean, that's kind of a cool thing. I know they did, yoga in the park down on the riverfront a couple of times,
Mhm.
and, you know, we could try it, so,
Right, thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no other business this evening? Okay, so our, before we ask for a motion to adjourn, our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Monday, November the 1st here at 6:30. And, now may I have I need a motion to adjourn, please?
We'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Good night, thank you. Do you have to go back and do that?
Yep, I hope so, because we weren't very close, so I hope they're still going.
Yeah, she's okay with it, isn't he?
Black, 5.